So the disability evaluation system, it's not creatively named. The military uses this system to evaluate disabilities, right? To see whether the individual is going to be mission capable. That's the way to think about it. The term is whether they are fit or unfit for continued military service. But if you just think mission capable, you'll understand it well enough. The deal is that the disability evaluation system is not about delivering benefits. It's about figuring out whether the individual that they're looking at can stay in the military. Can they fulfill the purpose of their enlistment? Are they still mission capable? So you can imagine, and we see it all the time, people in the military often get banged up, whether it's because they get shot or blown up, whether it's because they're in a motorcycle crash or a vehicle crash, or whether they get diseases, whether they're too close to a burn pit and they get respiratory issues, or they come down with diabetes, right? So there are lots of disabilities that can arise during the course of someone in the military's career. And so I'm going to take just a random example and say, all right, we have somebody who was in a vehicle crash, any branch of the service, doesn't matter. And in that vehicle crash, they sustain 3 injuries: knee, hip, and shoulder, right? Maybe they got T-bone and the vehicle kind of hit them on that side. Well, if the military doctors are looking at that individual and say, hey, geez, that could be a real problem, I'm not sure you can still do your job, they're going to put them into the disability evaluation system. And the disability evaluation system in almost every case today is going to be the integrated disability evaluation system. And it's integrated because they brought the Department of Veterans Affairs in. And the reason they did this, by the way, was the military was cheating people. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They were cheating people. They were assigning them ratings that were too low, and they were not finding them unfit for things they really should have found them unfit for. They weren't looking at all the conditions. And so Congress stepped in 2008, created the integrated disability evaluation system, and said, all right, from now on, the Department of Veterans Affairs is going to determine the ratings for all of the conditions that the service member is being looked at, so that the military couldn't look at an 80% condition and say, oh, you're at 10%. Right? It happens all the time, and it still happens. But so that's the reason it's integrated. Is the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Department of Defense have to work together. And so for those conditions, right? I mentioned there's the knee, there's the hip, and there's the shoulder. And the Department of Veterans Affairs, when they get this case handed to them, they are going to look at everything that's wrong with that service member. So if they have on the other side of their body, if they've got a bad ankle, they're going to look at that. If they have ringing in their ears, whether it's tinnitus or tinnitus, depending on how you want to say it, maybe they got ringing in their ears. But those aren't the things the military was concerned about. The military was concerned about that knee, that hip, and that shoulder. So they develop a rating for everything, while the VA does, while separately the military at their physical evaluation board is determining, hey, is this person mission capable? Are they fit or unfit for continued military service? And each condition that they get referred, right? The referred conditions are the ones that the military is paying attention to. They don't care about the other ones. They only care about those referred conditions. The military PEB will say, okay, you're fine. Your shoulder, it's probably painful, but you can still do your job. And your hip, well, no, we don't think you can do your job with that hip. And your knee, yeah, you don't do much with that knee. You work in an admin office. You don't have to run and jump out of helicopters or something like that, so that knee's not too bad. Well, they found that individual unfit for the one condition, the hip. All right, now the VA may have returned an overall rating on that person of, say, 70%. But the military is only concerned about the unfitting condition. That's the only thing they care about, because that's the only thing that's knocking them out of the military. So let's say the VA came back with a 20% rating for that hip. That individual is going to be medically separated with a 20% DOD rating, even though they've got a 70% rating from the VA. They're going to be separated from the military with a 20% military rating. That means they get severance pay, they get some benefits, but that's it. They don't get medically retired at 20%. 30% is the threshold for that. And remember that 70% rating that's out there, that doesn't interest the military at all, because the ringing in their ears. If they're let's say it's a mortarman, who cares? No one can hear in the mortars, right? So they're just not interested. But let's say they came back and said, okay, yeah, we find you unfit for the hip and the shoulder. Now the hip came in at 20% and the shoulder came in at 10. We're going to have on those two conditions a combined rating of 30%. That hits the threshold. 30% is the threshold for a medical retirement. And at that point, that individual is now going to be medically retired from the military. All right, and they're going to have a 30% DOD rating. They're going to still have that same 70% rating from the VA, and off they go. Now, there's a lot of complexity there. We can talk about this at some other point with temporary retirements. You may have heard about those. Those are a bad deal. Permanent retirements, that's the deal they want. But again, it's about a $2.5 million benefit that accrues to that service member or that now veteran when they are medically retired. It's a great big deal. So that is the function of the disability evaluation system. Look and see if they can do their job, if they're mission capable. And if there's a condition that is not mission capable or that makes them unfit, or if there are conditions that make them not mission capable or unfit, figure out what those conditions rate combined. And if it's 30% or higher, they're medically retired. And if it's 20% or lower, they are medically separated. And I can tell you, as an attorney who's done this now, I guess 11 years, I have seen scarily often a 0% unfit rating and a 100% rating for that same individual from the VA. So you have somebody, you look at that and you just think, oh, this can't possibly be. This just feels wrong. And that's some of that cherry picking I was talking about. The military still has the ability to say which conditions render the individual mission incapable or unfit, right? And they have the VA books right there. So they can see, oh, if we rate them unfit for this thing, that's going to be a 70% condition. But they have this hip problem that rated at 0%. Let's find them unfit for the hip, and off they go. And if you think that's not what they're doing, they're not doing it in every case, but it is happening. There's no doubt in my mind. So that is the foundation of what it is that caused me to create The Warrior's Lawyer.